me a little crazy. So I do need to calm down a little bit, but that's, that is what it is. And so I think you are right. We need to applaud those restaurant and the hospitality industry, the hotels across the community that have offered up rooms, to families and such, as well as the Airbnb community. So shout out to all of those. And I want to give a quick shout out. We kind of teased it when we had those last episodes of 2021, where we thank those loyal listeners. I want to give a quick shout out to Corinne. I don't know. I'm not going to do last names so I don't dox them. Krista, Jen, Susan, and Karen, Alice, Johnny from River Bear, and then Robbie. Those are folks that helped us over the last couple of weeks, kind of just doing things. Krista did the Venmo challenge where she gave $1,000 to a family-run restaurant on Federal, a little under the beaten radar right around Christmas, trying to help out. Turns out the daughter was just about to have kidney surgery. So that $1,000 went to something meaningful. So shout out to Krista. And to those that dedicated their time and efforts to help volunteer for the Marshall Fire that I spoke of, those folks, I just want to give them a shout out. I feel like we need to use this platform to tip our cap to some individuals this week. But anyway, okay, so we talked about last week. Let's talk a little bit about what's going forward, Chris. For this season, we've got a lot on the docket. We're going to do some more weed reviews. We're going to do grow tours. We're going to do more restaurant reviews. We've got a picture that just dropped yesterday, or tomorrow, from Three Saints Revival, the new restaurant that went into the old Hearth and Dram right next to or down the street from Union Station. You and I teed off on it. Let's start with restaurants that folks should be checking or have on their radar for 2022 before I start talking about dry January. What did you think about the Three Saints Revival restaurant?
I thought, as far as tapas style restaurants in the city, I think it's right up there with anyone that you think is really great. I think it's going to be in that same echelon.
See, I put it above Barcelona in food quality.
Oh yeah, 100%. I guess I don't really think about Barcelona.
I put it up there with like Ultria, Jen Jasinski's spot that's right there next to our in Union Station. I mean, obviously not the same style like Portuguese and Spanish, but close in the tapas theme. And I think it's on that tier of dankness, it's not going to break the bank, and at the same time, you could go in there. I'd say it's great for like a happy hour, like a girls like snack and hang out, or dudes like trying to grab a little snack to hold you over, maybe a work lunch. That's where the vibe was set for us. That was my thing.
Yeah, no, and I really liked like the different, what was it, that baba ganoush we had that was a little different than like traditional baba ganoush. Because they were actually like kind of more bits and pieces. It wasn't as smooth as like a pureed kind of baba ganoush. And then those mussels, I mean, the mussels were really good the way they were prepared.
I agree. I think the mussels were up there. That pork belly that was the size of my forearm. I mean, it's a hammercock. It's a good one. It was a big piece of meat. It was cooked well. It literally just slices perfectly with a fork and melts on your tongue. The pork belly slapped. And I swear to God, I could fuck up 50 of those croquettes. Those things were so good.
Oh shit. I forgot
crunchy
about
on the
that.
outside, creamy on the end.
Yeah. Those were, I'm gonna go over the top there and say like those were some of the best croquettes, like just by the way, like that the fried crust of it held together. Like it wasn't just a sloppy mess. That was fucking really good.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That one's a good one. And then also I went and tried a restaurant last night. I feel people I asked everybody for Thai recommendations and everybody and their mom said daughter Thai, which worries me because while daughter Thai is nice and very, very expensive, there's a lot of Thai restaurants that are doing the exact same thing as them, but it's just not, and they don't have the PR team or the downtown presence. Like there's some epic Thai food on Federal and in strip malls in each of these little pockets around the city that I feel the community is missing out on. It worried me that so many people said daughter Thai. I had Suvipa, that one where we did the Venmo challenge. The portions were It was the size of your torso, Chris, and it was $14. And the spice levels are so perfect. They're on point. They don't like ruin the meal. You know, there's a little bit of fluctuation. You can get a little crazy if you wanted. But last night I took my mom to Farmhouse Thai. Also fucking delicious. A little bit heavier on the price point, but the goons, Chris, the goons, they were so good. And then I went with the Flying Monkey Noodle Soup, I believe is what it's called. And it kind of has like this rich umami broth and then meatballs in it and then shaved beef or pork in there as well. Oh, daddy. You can, and then their spice levels are mighty. I'm telling you what, it made my brother cry. I was fucking dying out laughing.
I saw that. I got a chuckle out of that because your brother, like, while he looked like he was having a good time, he looked like he was slightly wincing in pain.
Yeah, you saw his like red. His face was about as red as Santa Claus. But at the same time, he enjoyed it. Like he bit off exactly what he could chew. He knew what he was doing, and he ended up eating all that shit. But he likes that really like make you sweat heat, like you felt like you earned it. So I just want to use this as a PSA to get outside of the box. Go eat places that you're like, oh, that can't be good. You know, like everyone goes to Star Kitchen, but did you know that there's 70 fucking places where you can get dim sum in Denver? I bet you didn't. Go check out China Jade, you know, in the Far East Center, things like that. You need to get off the beaten path and just stop eating these basic Betty restaurants.
Yeah. And also I'll say for Team East Colfax, Tommy's Thai right there on Colfax. I've never had a bad meal there.
See, I mean, and then there's Ross Siam over in Jeff Park, Taste of Thailand on Broadway. And then somebody was throwing out, it's My Thai Cafe or something like that, or Auntie's down on Evans. Like there's so many great ones. It disappointed me to hear that everybody gave me the most expensive Thai restaurant in town. And I'm not here to throw shade. I go eat at Hop Alley and Daughter Thai. But at the same time, like if you just want it, that can't be your everyday Chinese or Thai food, or you would be broke, or you're a crypto bro, whatever. You know, either one of those. Finance bro. Yeah. Those are, exactly. But so I love harping on new restaurants because people ask us that more often than not. That is what they go for. So those are the restaurants we're vibing on. Is there any other? You got another one?
Not so much. I mean, this is more of a shout out from our last week, our little afternoon happy hour get together. Esters is fucking fantastic, man. Like
killer happy hour specials. And they're opening a third location in Wheat Ridge.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Dynamite.
Yeah. So shout out to the team at Esters. That was a great call. Forgot about that.
I mean, the staff was fucking great. All the food was great. The nachos were super delicious. There wasn't a soggy nacho on the plate. You got a little bit of everything off every nacho you pulled out. I thought they stood the test of our like nacho scale. You know,
I'd put them on the higher end, like on the danker side of food that fucks, as opposed to the lackluster limp dick side. It was definitely on the more rock hard side. Like it was perfectly like spread out, layered, and then the liquid white cheese on top. And then obviously they have fish vibes and TVs galore, great cocktails and a hell of a deals.
Extensive beer list.
Extensive. That's a great call. So yeah, there's 3 locations. They have one on South Holly. They have the one in Oneida Park, which is down there in like the Park Hill quaint area. And then they're opening their 3rd location in 2022 in Wheat Ridge. So good call, Chris. I like that.
Yeah, great spot for the upcoming NFL playoffs, and especially if you're a Bills fan.
Good call. We do need to kind of rehash our conversation from September where we picked Broncos records, because I think if they win this weekend, you will be right on 8-9, because that was your guess, wasn't it?
I can't remember if you were 8-9 or because one of us had a winning season. I think
I had a little bit more faith in them than you did. So
maybe you were 9-8.
Yeah, I think I was 9-8. You were 8-9. So if they win this weekend, you're spot on. But yeah, so we'll touch on that throughout the season. But also in season 4, we're going to start doing these little clues, questionnaire kind of things. This first one this will be it. This is the question, Chris. Every episode, we're going to give a question, and the first person to bring that answer and put it in our comment section on our Instagram post for the episode wins a gift card. Today's gift card is a $25 gift card to Postino Wine Cafe. They have 3 locations around the metro, and it's an eloquent little spot for a date night. You want to stop in for lunch or dinner by yourself or a date. It's great. Happy hour. Every drink of wine is under $5. Everyone.
5 till 5.
5 till 5. And on Mondays and Tuesdays, they do board in a bottle for $25. You can't beat that with a stick either. So that's fantastic. But yeah, so this week's question is, this is just to kind of build some more engagement. What is the oldest bar in Denver? First person to comment that answer that is still there, the oldest bar in Denver still operating. Comment that in our Instagram post saying the answer is Burr. The first person to do it wins the Postino $25 gift card.
There you go. And it just shows that you actually listen to this episode.
Yeah. We'll just measure our engagement versus that. And, next week, maybe we'll do a weed one. Something like that.
Yeah, maybe the question will come in the first 3 minutes of the episode, maybe the final 2. You never know.
You'll never know. So it'll just be peppered in there. It's the quiz of the week. It'll be sponsored by different folks. This week it's sponsored by Postino. So thank you to Postino. We appreciate you sharing the love with our listeners. All right, Chris. So we've gone for about 20, 25, 30 minutes now. We're going to go for about 10 more. Before we leave, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing right now. Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Chris?
I'm thinking, I usually write down a couple of things I just want to focus on. I wouldn't say they're resolutions, but a couple of things I want to gravitate toward more this year. I would say I've got 2 or 3 that I thought of. One being read a little bit more. So just try and at least read one book every 2 months. Whether it's like spending a little less time, like maybe watching a show or something on Netflix at the end of the night, just maybe trying to read a book or something here or there. The next one would be really try to be present more when I'm with people. So like, I know like we do like to like showcase certain things on Instagram and stuff, and that's all great. But at the same time, sometimes just like really putting that phone down and enjoying just being present. I think that's something I want to focus on more. And really and truly, those are the only 2 things that I really want to focus on this year, like as far as like benefiting me and others, I guess.
So you're going back to like 1996, Chris, is what you're trying to do. Read a couple books, get ready for school. I like it. I like where your head's at. And it sounds like you're trying to do a little bit more cognizant thinking instead of just like mindlessly scrolling or mindlessly Netflix and, chilling or whatever. I like that. I applaud that. I'm doing some mental health as well. We've talked about that in the past, but what I'm doing is I'm going to do a little break from alcohol. I think I need to take a break. My tolerance is way too high. I'm an expensive date. I don't think I have a drinking problem by any means. I know when to stop and I can stop, which I'm doing. Today's day 3. But that's what mine's going to be. I'm going to do a little bit more health conscious Kip this year. We're going to eat more edibles and smoke less vape. That's probably a lie. We're just going to eat more edibles. That's another one I'm going to do. So we're going to take a month off from drinking. We're going to do dry January with all the other people. But what I'm going to try to do, Chris, in the meantime, is I'm going to try to find ways, like you were talking about, stimulating the brain and things like that. I was talking with our videographer, Peyton, and we were trying to think of ways we could be like using our brain in other ways. So if anybody has any ideas, like, should we pick up cross stitching, or maybe learning how to write with my left hand? Maybe I can take 6 strokes off my golf game, something along those lines. And that's what I'm going to start with. So if we can get through dry January properly, then I'll feel pretty good about myself. It's kind of like I'm in a 100-yard sprint, whereas you're running the 1,600 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is cool.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Both of them very good for your body. we're just taking different ways to get to a different finish line. So I like it. I like it. And before I mentioned something that we